how negative emotions are giving us feedback and also guidance where we are sabotaging ourselves so we can learn from that and not sabotage ourselves anymore. Hello, this is Dennis, and today I want to talk about our negative emotions and how we can use these negative emotions, because I think nowadays in this society, maybe also like in personal development, we all think about, okay, we should not look at the negative emotion, we should always be positive. And I'm working with like mentors who I'm quite paying a lot of money, and I learned that this is the opposite. This is wrong, and that we need to look at our emotions because we can learn a lot from them. This is what I want to share with you today, because I made a realization a couple of days ago. So yeah, this might be a good example how I can explain this to you. Okay, so every time when we feel a negative emotion, it's more often than not because we made subconsciously a decision that led to an action that made us feel bad, for example, shameful or angry. Okay, and let me explain so this does make sense. So the ego, we are often run by our ego, and our ego gets its power or its energy from us living and identifying with our negative emotions, for example, shame, guilt, anger, etc., etc. The ego is the strongest if we are living through those negative and those lower emotions. So what the ego is doing, the ego is sabotaging us, because we say, okay, it's self-sabotaging, and I mean, to some degree it is, because the ego is part of ourselves, but the ego is bringing us into and leading us to decisions that then lead to actions that then make us feel bad and negative. So let me give you an example. So I think it was last Wednesday when I was in the evening feeling extremely angry, and I was angry about myself, and I was just angry, right, and not in a good mood. And at first I was identifying with the emotion, but then I realized, okay, I learned about a lot of us this emotion. Stop, take perspective, don't identify with those emotions. And now I was in the position where I could look at those emotions and also have the awareness and create the awareness, because I took the time to think about it. Okay, what was the decision that I made, or what was the action? Okay, so now the camera went off and I had to load it a bit, and I was looking at the video, so I knew where I was with my video. So yeah, I thought, okay, maybe I will just share the rest here while walking here in the vlog. So now I was in a position to ask myself, okay, because I wasn't identifying with this emotion anymore, I could had a clear head. I could ask myself, okay, what was the action that led to me being angry, or me shaming myself? And the next step would be, okay, what was the decision I took that led to that action? And then we can see, okay, because now it's interesting, right? We know it was a decision. So if it is a decision, this means we have a choice. We have a choice to say no to the self-sabotaging behavior. The problem is, it is usually subconscious. The decision is done subconscious by our ego, and we're not even aware that we have a decision. But the first thing is, watch the emotion, so we know, okay, we have a choice. And then we can consciously make the choice to not do the behavior anymore. So to come back to the example anymore, on that day I had to do, for example, calls. I had to call people and set myself appointments. And on that day I kind of found everything to not call people and not set myself appointments, so I could, for example, sell them. And I did everything else. Oh, that was a meeting. Oh, I tried to talk to this person and that person. Oh, whatever, like everything. And at the end of the day, I had done 0 calls, zero, and there were no calls on my calendar. So of course I was super angry, but I didn't even realize why I had this anger until I took the step back. And then the realization was, okay, I did everything in my power. I prioritized things wrongly. This was the self-sabotaging behavior. I prioritized things wrongly in order to not do the calls, in order to not do the money-making activities that were the most important for me in that moment right now. So I feel angry and shameful and bad at the end of the day. This was my ego. My ego made me prioritize wrong things, so I can sabotage myself, so I cannot make money, so I cannot move forward, right? Because this is self-sabotage, right? We do things, we fuck ourselves up in order to not become successful, in order to not become and move forward. So yeah, I hope this little example and this little knowledge that I shared here was useful. Maybe the next time when you're super angry, when you're feeling shame or whatever, first try to identify the emotion, Okay, what am I feeling right now? Take perspective, not identify with the emotion anymore. So you can then look at the action that led to the emotion, and then to the decision that led to the action. This is the cascade that you have to look at. Yes, if you have any question about this, you can ask me in the comments. If you sometimes feel angry and you might not know where it comes from, or if you know where it comes from, you can also text this to me in the comments. Maybe we can have a chat there. Yes, but that now, thanks for watching, and we'll see each other in the next video.